It's the night before Christmas, 2024, and Santa is ready, like each time before, to deliver presents to plenty all over the world. Toys for boys, non-binaries, and even the girls. But how does he do this, I hear you ask, for it sounds like a most impossible task. Well, he flies with his reindeer and his trusty old sleigh and delivers presents to children all in one day. But reindeer, you say, cannot typically fly. No known species of caribou can themselves take to the sky. This is true, I admit, they do stay on the ground, but there are 87% of species worldwide still yet to be found. And yes, most of these will be tiny and small. Little fish, little insects, plants, fungi and all. But as late as 1994, in the wilds of Vietnam, they discovered a new species of deer. So there you go, bam! Who's to say out there amidst all the trees is not a reindeer that flies like the birds and the bees? But how could this be? Well, let's think, if we might, about how such a beast could attain the power of flight. After all, things larger than reindeer whiz about in the air. Planes are bigger and heavier and they make it up there. To gain flight, you see, there are two things you must absolutely achieve. One is lift, one is thrust. Because gravity, of course, tries to pull you to the ground, whilst aerodynamic drag is slowing you down. But with sufficient lift and good thrust, these can be overcome. So how, with a reindeer, might this then be done? The problem with takeoff is all of their mass, 180 kilograms for a male, so it would need to move fast. Their top speed, it seems, is about 50 miles per hour, which is half what they'd need to achieve liftoff power. And even then, if it could somehow get into the air, it has no further means of creating thrust whilst up there. No wings that we know of, no engines, no thrusters. No thrust means no lift, and that does not cut the mustard. If one were to, perhaps, find itself in the sky, it would fall at a terminal velocity of 120 miles per... well, it would die. Right, fine, the reindeer don't really work, but the thing is they're magic. Don't forget that little quirk. So let's move on, they're fine. The reindeer will leave and turn to Santa, his sleigh and his work on Christmas Eve. So what about Santa? How's his schedule look? Well, at first glance, the reaction is There are 8 billion people alive on the Earth, spread from Moscow to Muscat, from Port-au-Prince to Perth, and 2.2 billion children, those below 14 years old, which is on average 2.3 per household. But only half celebrate Christmas, to Santa's relief, because some people are miserable, and I suppose others have different beliefs. But some children are naughty, let's not forget this. But they still get a visit, as he hands coal out as gifts. So that's a potential 1 billion homes to visit all in one night, using a sleigh and his reindeers, which we now agree have magical flight. That's a grand task indeed for good old Saint Nick, who's got plenty to do and he needs to be quick. But thankfully there are time zones spread across every nation, giving him 31 hours between these and the Earth's tilt and rotation. Now, if we take the surface area of Earth and divide by the number of homes he must see, we can find the average distance between each house, which is 0.6 miles, if you still follow me. So his distance in total on this crazy route he must take is around 620 million miles. That's the journey he makes. That is greater than the distance between the Earth and the Sun. So how fast must he go to get this all done? Well, fast is the answer, about 6,000 miles per second, which is 30,000 times the speed of sound, or about there I reckon. And this ignores all the visits that he makes at each stop, where he lands, disembarks, and down the chimney he drops, where he leaves presents, drinks sherry, eats some mince pies, at a cumulative total of several dozen billion calories. So perhaps at this point he bursts and he dies. No, surely not. Although if he does survive, there's another issue to deal with if he's to stay alive, because it's not just the speed of the sleigh that is great, but also its massive, enormous, ludicrous weight. If each child receives presents weighing no more than 2 pounds, and here we're being kind because we've rounded right down, then the sleigh carries 2,200,000 tons. Good heavens, that's the weight of over 5,000 Boeing 747s. And since the average reindeer can pull just 300 pounds, then you'd need over 16 million of them to make Santa's rounds. But he's not got that many, he's only got 9, although I guess they are magical, so I guess that's fine. But all of this gigantic weight, moving at such frightening speed, would certainly generate much heat indeed. For Santa, his sleigh, and his trusty reindeer, it would be like an asteroid entering the Earth's atmosphere. Tens of thousands of degrees at least it would make, temperatures well above that at which animals bake. The speed, air resistance, and all of science's rules see the front reindeer absorb energy worth several quintillion joules. In a fraction of a millisecond, each one of them dies, as in the blink of an eye they all vaporize. With a flash of bright light, each one meets its doom, and emits, seconds later, a great sonic boom. But what about Father Christmas, who sat in the sleigh, assuming somehow the heat doesn't just burn him away? Well, centrifugal forces pin Santa back into his seat, as he's crushed into a paste made of marrow and meat. The sleigh, with its weight, then crashes down to the ground, causing a huge fiery eruption, obliterating all that's around. So really, I'd say, given what the laws of physics allow, if Santa ever did exist, well, he's dead now.